I wanted to talk about what to do with your business when life events come up that set you back a step. So, for example, Sunny got hit with an ice storm this week. Candace, I'm sure you've probably had some sick kids at home. Tom's been sick. I was sick last week with strep. This weekend I got kidney stones, so I was in the hospital. And it's like you come back and you're like, how the fuck do we continue to grow and scale our business when it feels like our legs are getting swept out from under us? So I just wanted to share a few things that have always worked for me in these times. A lot of you know I have young kids too, so I have often have that sick sidekick working alongside of me. And there were times in my career where I would literally take the day and I would just say, I'm going to be with my kid. And eventually these kids get sick so often. I was like, this is not sustainable if I want to scale and grow at the rate I plan to. So these are kind of the fundamental things I've put in place, and I find they're really effective. So jot them down, or you can watch this video later if you encounter this. So first things first is anything is better than zero. You're not going to have a 10 out of 10 lights out day if you're so sick that you can't pick up your phone or your kid's puking and you're just not. That's a reality. So you need to accept that reality. But then anything you can do that day that's not a complete write-off, count it as a win. So if you can send 5 to 10 text messages, if you can do a few email follow-ups with previous clients, if you can ask someone for a Google review via Instagram who's a past client, things like that all count as wins. You're not going to have this day where you're going to a realtor lunch and you're making 15 phone calls and you're doing 3 applications. It's not going to be one of those days. That's not a terrible thing. It just anything you can do that makes it better than a complete donut on your day, on your week, is better than nothing. To that point, the next one is to change tactics. So when I had strep, I couldn't talk. Tom had to suffer through a few phone calls with me. Maybe he thought my voice was sexy, maybe not. I know like no one in my house wanted to talk to me. I was using like AI voice to like type to voice to talk. I made my voice female actually for the week. It was kind of fun. Um, but so like I couldn't do my phone calls, and you guys know that like I work my phone a lot. It's big driver of my business. So I'm like, shit, okay, I need to pivot here. So I did a ton of text messages. I did a ton of like LinkedIn outreaches, Instagram DMs, even a few Facebook messages, which I don't ever do because I was just looking for something to fill that void in my business. And kind of a cool thing is that in doing this, I actually learned that like there's a huge segment of my book that probably doesn't love phone calls, because they were way more responsive on the texts, and we were able to maintain a lead per day pace with this, even going into the weekend. Like I was texting people and sending things out from the doctor's office, and we're getting business from it. So it's not the same as I usually do, and it's not necessarily like what I prefer to do, but it works and it keeps the ship on course, even though we're having a down week from an energy level. Um, to that point, your energy is going to be all over the map. Like you're going to get screwed and tired. And if you're like throwing up, you're going to really be sick. Things like that. Like, so you're not going to have this sustained day where you're going to get 6 to 8 hours at your desk, banging out everything on your list. So we kind of talked about that with like do anything more than zero and changing tactics, but also change how you work. So what I'll do during periods like this is I'll do sprints. So I'll have like one 20-minute sprint where I might try to do 10 asks in that time frame, whereas before I would allow myself half an hour to do calls and more of a meandering sort of style. So if you have the kind of that gap where your kid passes out because they're exhausted, bang out 10 DMs or 10 texts or whatever it is you decide to do that day for your business. If it's an application you're processing, set a timer on your phone for like 15 minutes and just do as much focus work as you can. Lock in on the singular task and do a sprint, and then give yourself a break. And then when you get another wave of energy, do a sprint again there. This is actually a great tactic if you find, also even on days you're not sick, if you find you're procrastinating or you're pushing things off, is to just really shorten the time horizon. I'm drawing a blank on what this law is, but basically the amount of time you give yourself for a task is the amount of time it will take. So if I tell Sunny, hey Sunny, it's going to take you half a day to chainsaw the tree that fell down and your back deck there, it'll take him half a day. If I say, Sunny, you're going to India in a week and a half, you got to get this done in one day or like in one morning, he's going to get friends over there. He's going to get neighbors in there. He's going to have it all chopped up, stacked, ready to go. So give yourself these time constraints and force them on yourself. Even though like your body is going to be screaming for rest, your mind's going to be telling you give yourself a day off. Just don't just say, okay, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes and I'm going to do X and move on to the next thing. So for me today, like April 1st is the start of a really big segment for us. So Tom and I have our internal competition, which has a bunch of asks. I have like a fitness goal with myself, and I'm running on like I'm on morphine today. Like I'm a little bit stoned to be honest with you, but I'm kind of like trying to still do my sprints. So like I'm
Good
literally
thing you're not underwriting anymore.
fuck I know. uh, I'm literally wearing my running shoes for the whole day because I'm gonna go like to get my goal. I have my treadmill on, so it's literally on, and I'm just like when I have that enough energy, I'm going there. My shoes are already on, and I'm just getting on there, and I get like gonna get my goal done, but it's not gonna be a pretty long stretch. It's gonna be like 20 mini sessions until I feel like I'm gonna faint again, get off and go from there. And this is not health advice, first off, because this is not healthy. And I know like my partner Levy was like, you're fucking mental. You need to take a day off and just rest. Like you're insane. But it's good for business and it's good for achieving goals, which is what we're after. Um, to just cap this off, make it a game and reward yourself. So, I'm gonna pop two non-alcoholic beers in the fridge this morning. If I get all my stuff done, I'm gonna watch the hockey game and have a few of those tonight without worrying about anything to do with work that comes up. For you, it might be going to get an ice cream or, treating yourself to something, whatever it is. But make these little games and challenges within your days, especially those days that are more of a challenge for you, because that's the day where if you show up for yourself in your business, that's when you really count it as a win. It's easy to have a 10 out of 10 day when you feel amazing, confident, sexy, and everything's going great. It's harder on the days you're covered in kids spit up or you feel like you haven't slept and you're just grinding. So count those days as a win for when you show up for yourself and your business and do everything you can to play a game within the day and reward yourself for it.
I think the biggest realization for me over the March break with kids at home and everyone in the house was sick. I couldn't do much work wise, but the I knew like, okay, when they're napping, I have roughly 1 to 2 hours to just get shit done. And the biggest realization for me was how much you can actually get in a condensed time frame when you need to get it done. So I guess like the challenge that I would give you guys is it like look at your calendar today or your to-do list and see what you have on the go and try to condense as much as possible in like a 1 hour time frame and see how much you can get done. And then if you get more done than you anticipated, just move on to the next thing and you'd be amazed how much you can get done in a day.
For sure. I've been doing this a lot with like I had these like big daunting tasks and I'm like, okay, I just need to this task in my mind is like a 1 week project. And I'm like, it's not a 1 week project. It's just that you're procrastinating so much and you're lazy. So I put it in my head. I'm like, hey, I'm going to give myself like 1 hour of total focus on this. And I put on like electronic house music or like classical focus. Tom will sometimes call me and he knows how to get through my call blocker thing. And he'll be like, what the hell are you listening to?
Psycho, man. When I hear the
But
classical music, I'm like, what is going on in your basement right now?
I just jam the tune so it's like so loud. I turn off all the lights except for like what's around me. And I just lock in and do it. But I've been able to bang out a ton of these like daunting tasks that were like weighing on me. Like I'm not gonna lie, they were weighing on me for like months where I was pushing them off, and I'm like, screw it. And I got like three done in the first start of last week. And then I got sick the first time and I haven't done one since. But um if you can find those little tips and ways to get that focus and get dialed in on the day, like we say, just really shorten the time horizon. You can do this on any part of your business. And a tool I use a lot is Toggle, which is a time tracker. So I've been tracking my business for like 3 years now. And I went down from being like 50 to 60 hours a week to like 30 to 40 to like I got as low as like 18 to 22, where then I felt I was doing some damage to my business by doing too little. So now it's back up to sort of that like 30 to 40 range, but that's 30 to 40 like working mortgage book and running a brokerage. So it's a very healthy lifestyle that way. Obviously, there's going to be days that are like 12, 14 hours, but those are not every single day because I know I can do all my prospecting, I can do all my email, I can do all of these things in batches. And really, I know the time it should take. And I'm racing against myself and I'm competing against my time. So I'm like a Formula One driver trying to get faster and faster at the things I do without sacrificing the quality because you don't want to crash and wind up off the road.